Hello again, this is part 2 of our horse eye tutorial. We're going in and just making some adjustments around the eye that we started in part 1. The materials are in the description, so if you'd like to follow along with me, we'll get started. For now, we're just going to lay in some basic shading areas, as you can see, blending those out a little bit. We'll come back to them a little bit later because we've got to be putting in all of those little fine hairs like we did above the eye. Mapped out those pink areas, they're blended nicely. The areas that are going to be white, they've got a background there too. Darkening up some areas, and there we go. All right, here we're going to go with, start putting in those little tiny white hairs. This is where I was talking about. I love the coloring on this horse. It's just so varied and speckly. So every tiny little hair, I'm just using a little white pencil. You'll see me going to a gray one. Just trying to make it not quite as uniform. You know, you don't want to put the tiny little hair strokes anywhere on any animal in exact, straight lines, or just, you don't want to have rows. It's just so, it's just very random, and just like just like your own head of hair, to just kind of let it be natural and fluid. We want a direction because that's, part of it, but aside from that direction, every little hair is going to be kind of doing its own little thing. You can see on the eye there where I've laid those in. That's what we're going to be doing pretty much everywhere else on this page. I'm going to speed you back up again, give you some nice music to listen to while you see this process taking place. Getting these little areas where they're folds, not quite folds in the skin, but the ripples with muscles underneath and the structure of the head itself. It's important so that you kind of really see the depth of the actual photograph or artistic representation of that photograph. So it just takes a long time sometimes to make sure that you're really kind of getting the right amount of whichever color it is you're working with. Like with this white right now, I'm going to be using that same white pencil for the most part on the pink area, on the dark area where I'm at right now, all pretty much all over the face. And that's where it's building that character, that speckly surface that needs to show through in this particular portrait. The unique quality of this horse is that you can see all of these little hairs that are just the different colors over color. In a lot of the other horse portraits that I've done, it's more a matter of just a smooth, silky coat where you're not close enough really to see all of the little detail, but instead the focus is on the dark and light areas, the shine of the fur. I keep saying fur, it just cracks me up. The hair on the horse. A furry horse is a Shetland pony or something of that effect. But I'm so used to doing dogs now and cats that it's all fur. But with horses, it's a little different. It's hair, horse hair, right? So you can see I'm getting the transition between the dark and the light, tapping out to make sure that I'm blending enough where I don't have little hard edges everywhere, just to kind of soften the surface of the pencil marks. And now, like I said, going in and making sure that as I add the darker areas here, that there's a nice transition. Is going to be blending in, overlaying black over the white, white over the black, until you get a nice transition. Some of the areas in the underpainting may also be lighter than we want, so we will be darkening that up some as well. But every tiny little stroke, you can see down on the bottom where my hand is on the glassine, where I've put in, there's some of the hairs on the bottom left that are blurred out. I will be going back and sharpening that as needed. And actually, when we start looking at the top of the reference photo, there's not just black. Anytime you're doing hair, there's going to be multiple colors, but the black is going to have some brown in there as well. I could actually put in some blue, normally with black, to keep it from looking flat. You would add a dark blue, something, or even, depending on if there's a lot of shine to it. In some areas, you might use a light blue. But with this particular photo, I want to keep to the browns, the blacks, the grays, the pinks. And then that eye with that blue, the contrast of that is just what's so beautiful. So we'll continue along with the tiny little hairs in this area. I'm putting kind of little patterns behind that section, you may have noticed, just to build that character in with the coloration. I'd love to see your comments. Let me know if you enjoy this type of a tutorial, if there's things that you would like to see differently, and what your thoughts are, where you are in your journey, whatever you'd like to share. I would love to have that in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button for me so that I can continue to have my content out there. And if you would like to know when I upload new material, just remember to hit that bell. Okay, that transition's coming through nicely, where we just have brightening up a little bit now, darkening up where we need to, carefully around those hairs that are already down, just fine-tuning. You'll notice I had put some more of the pink, the Faber-Castell one that I had, on above the eye to kind of give it the right tone, and blending out. just easy tapping, just so you don't disturb the actual hair quality, but really just kind of getting rid of any hard edges. And I put the eyelashes in very carefully, and I just wanted to get some white in there as well, because just like in the reference photo, it's visible. They go at different angles. So just continuing on with the darker area in the forehead. Once we get done with this part of the face where we've got all of our hair quality where we want it, then we'll start putting in the forelock. Making some adjustments here around the eye. That's something that too, if you start to get where you feel like you're spending too much time in one area, if you get frustrated by it, whatever, step away, come back. That's another beautiful thing about pastels. It's not like with watercolor where it's going to dry and you haven't got the flow yet that you needed with the water. It's not quite that same as restrictive as that, which I do a lot of watercolors, so I know, it's timing. It's just a lot of, planning out and making sure that you have things not drying too quickly before you blend or whatever it is when you're working various colors. With pastel, you don't have that. So just, relax, enjoy the process, and just let it be something soothing for you. Let it be a good way of, I use it. It's very therapeutic. Whenever I get truly stressed out, I love to lose myself in a drawing. Just let my thoughts go, listen to some music, and just kind of let that process work itself out and end up with something that I am very proud of and that I've truly enjoyed creating. Never let it stress you out. Never worry about it being perfect or looking exactly like your reference photo. Those kinds of things will kill an artist. And we want artists to grow and to experience the joy and the passion of it. Art is such a beautiful thing if you have the luxury of the time that it takes to practice. And even if you don't, just putting marks on paper and being creative with it, just letting it go, letting the stress of the day go as you're working through a lot of that stuff. It's just very wonderful. I am really happy to be able to share some of this time with you. All right, we're getting close. At this point, I'm just adjusting for all of the areas that have more of a black undertone. Just getting some of that pattern in. And this is what I was referring to earlier about making adjustments as you go, where the underpainting may not have been exact, but I want to capture some of those different variations in the skin color that's underneath the hair. That's what gives that, where you're laying the white down on the pink, it comes through. I'm still laying white, but it's got that nice pink undertone. That's the color of the skin underneath. And that's the way that a horse or any other animal, that's the way their colors come in. Based on the skin underneath, you'll have a specific pattern going on there, and the hair on top typically allows that pattern to come through. A lot of tiny little strokes go in, but I've got it sped up, so just know it doesn't go that fast normally, because it does take a while. So I'm trying to make sure you don't have to sit through every tiny little hair stroke, but that is what's required, and it does take a little bit of commitment to make sure that you're going to give it everything that it deserves as a finished product. So, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And just so you'll see the process and how it all comes together with every single one of those little strokes. And now I've kind of gone back into a regular speed here, so you can see how I'm laying this last section in, and pretty much all of it. The size of the stroke is going to depend on the length of the hair. All right, one of the last things as far as the fur or the hair on the face is going to be this little bit of shading that takes place. Just part of the structure of the face comes through with that little bit of shading. So we're going to be adding that in there as well. We'll blend that out just a tiny little bit. There we go. All right. I'm looking for any place I want to adjust, but now we're going to start coming down with our forelock. This hair is a little bit more thinly laid down, I would say, and I'm just kind of wanting to map out the area of where I want it to come in. And on the dark areas, I want to show the lighter hairs coming down. But just like we said before, I'm not going to go, every piece of hair doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. Some of them are shorter, they're broken, or we're just using that light and dark combination. And again, we have the areas where you've got that kind of a pinky color, pinky purpley coming through. All of the different colors that are going in here are, just kind of working together. That orange, the contrast of that, and it's not orange, it's a golden, well, it's kind of like a really dark orange. It would be called orange shade. This will be the last stage. I really hope you've enjoyed following along with me. I hope you will try this, and if you decide you enjoy it, check out some of my other tutorials. And if this is a good time, if you want to pause at any time, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel if you want to be alerted when there's new material that I've uploaded that you'd like to see. Hit that little bell I may be uploading some watercolor tutorials. If you have a favorite, just let me know which is your favorite of the tutorials that I've uploaded. Or if there's something else you'd like to see, just let me know and we'll see what we can do about that. Some people like different types of animals that they want to have demoed, or, I'm going to try at some point to get my sketches uploaded so that you can download them to follow along that way as well. And as I get the time to do it, I will be adding that type of material to the descriptions of these videos. All right. Just kind of when I'm blending, I'm trying to make sure I don't have any hairs starting in mid-air, just dangling there without a starting point. And then also at the very top, just, the same kind of principle, making sure that it doesn't look like it's just coming from the middle of the page. I see one little area I will probably fix if I don't get it in this video, right there in the center. But every time I lay down a piece of hair, there we go, fixed it. That would have driven me crazy. You'll notice too that it's kind of sectioned out a little bit. It's not all big flat like a waterfall that has no shape to it. It's like you've got kind of sections of hair. Just fine-tuning now some of the highlights around the eye. And I think we're ready to reveal. That's the best part of doing this, is taking the tape off and seeing that finished product. Let me know what you think, if you would have done something differently, if you have questions about anything related to the materials. I will be adding links as I can get them to some of the materials, but most of them you can find in any art supply store or through Amazon and some other sources. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. I absolutely enjoyed doing it with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this time with me, and hit like just so we can get my channel out there. I appreciate it. Bye.